Let's go to our good friend Andrew the Razor Raycroft, who joins us for the first time on the new program. Welcome, Razor, and thanks for the time today. How you doing?
Wonderful. Good afternoon. Good to be on the new show.
Yeah, it's good to have you. And on this day where we first of all had a WEEI scoop off, which I'm sure you caught up on all of that. Courtney this morning with the wrong scoop. It's now come out that the deal was done. Scoops Keefe, of course, with the correct one. First of all, do you think the Bruins organization was trying to flush out a rat there? What do you think happened there?
I don't know. I do not think the Bruins organization was involved in either of those directly. I think it's listen. This negotiation, these contract things change with a 25-second phone call. So to get out and get the sourcing and try and be the one who gets the scoop is certainly perilous.
Razor, those of us that don't necessarily know all the rules and minutia of the NHL calendar were kind of taken aback, I think, when we heard Don Sweeney say December 1st. It was like, wait, why did he say December 1st? Doesn't the season start way before then? But now, understanding that's a deadline for a guy to play if he's going to play this year, sign a contract. Do you think that's in play? Are we looking at an extended issue here? Where does your gut tell you this is going in terms of when we could actually see something get done?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It hasn't been on my radar at all. I think it's the way for a general manager in the National Hockey League. That's the easiest way to say that's how much time we have. Because if you imply we have till the regular season starts, or an artificial date that you just make, whether it's October 1st, etc., that just puts way more pressure on the situation that is necessary. Again, it's a phone call away from being done. I think both sides, I have to imagine both sides know where each other stand, and it's just a matter of kind of wiggling to the middle on it, or also could, I'm sure there's a few options as well. What option does player and team want to go down? So yeah, the December 1 date is in play. William Nylander held out last year. He was out for a little while, crept up to that December 1 day, but eventually got the deal done. But essentially, it's day to day right now would be my estimation.
The Bruins don't seem to have a lot of leverage here, Razor, after trading away Linus Ullmark and bringing in Korpisalo and talking about Brandon Bussey today and how they're confident in their goalie room. But it does seem like they've painted themselves into a bit of a corner here. Why do they still have this very kind of aggressive stance in the negotiation, knowing that they've traded away all their leverage?
Well, that's you could word it. You could have it that way. You could look at it that way. I don't think. Jeremy Swayman has nowhere to play hockey if it's not the Boston Bruins. So that's also leverage as well. I know we get flippant about this stuff sometimes, but the reality is if Jeremy Swayman doesn't play this year, minimum he's losing $6 million because that's what I'm sure the Bruins would sign him at that number right now. So that's a lot of money for a 26-year-old kid. So there's leverage on both sides, and I certainly wouldn't say that it's all in Jeremy Swayman's favor. He's got to play hockey this year as well.
All right. Well, in that case, then, do you think Swayman overplayed his hand?
I don't think that he's overplayed his hand yet. I think, again, this is part of the negotiation, and I certainly don't know what he's asking for. I guess if he's asking for Connor McDavid money, then yes, he's over at playing his hand. Again, those are the what goes on and what the actual numbers are, and again, I know there's lots of scoops out there, but
they're all right here. Actually, they're not out there; they're in here.
What I would say, exactly. And again, I don't want to be wishy-washy, not answer the direct question. I guess I would say if Jeremy Swayman sits out the entire year, that would be an overplaying of the hand. At this point, it's still. I get it. It's the first day of camp, and this is the story, but there's still a lot of time for plays and deals to get made.
This is probably a tough question, but we've been sort of debating numbers because we hear different numbers. $6 million. Fluto had 4 years, $28 million. Rich Keefe has reported that Swayman might be asking for up to $10 million. What do you think market value for Swayman is right now?
Well, that's if we could just dial that in, then I'd be general manager of the Boston Bruins, right? Hey, and guys, I held out. Very similar situation. I held out with the Boston Bruins in '06 in a similar situation. It lasted 6-7 days, and as a player, you get to the realization that all right, what am I doing? And it feels easy to do in the summer, and it feels like you have a mindset like I'm going to dig my heels in on this. And then you go a little bit of time and you realize, especially as a goaltender as well, it is different than a player. And so I do know what's going on, and I have the experience of being in this situation. Fair value numbers. So the numbers that hockey people are talking about, there's two guys, and one is UC Saros, who just signed an extension with the Nashville Predators. Bit of a hometown discount, I guess. If you look at it, he signed with an AAV of 7.7 million, and he's a perennial all-star. Guy's been in the Vezina mix the last few years, plays 60-plus games the last 5 years in a row, got his team into the playoffs. That's one comp. The other comp is the deal that hasn't been done yet, and that's Igor Shesterkin. And that's where the new money's going. Igor reported to sign in 8 years, 10 to 12 million. He's going to be the highest paid goalie when this shakes out, when he gets his extension. And that's really what everyone's looking at the market. And we've heard a lot about it, right? The salary cap's going to go up a lot. So I have to imagine that the term of this deal is in play a little bit, in that 8 years, it's really hard to get a big number for both the team and Jeremy Swayman. Jeremy Swayman's not going to want to sign an 8-year deal and be real low in that 4 years from now compared to an Igor Shesterkin, or even as soon as Igor Shesterkin signs his deal. And the Bruins also can't go way out on a limb and give an 8-year deal to Jeremy Swayman, where he's the highest paid goalie in the National Hockey League. I think that would be a stretch, too, as great as he is.
We're talking with Andrew Raycroft here on WEEI Afternoons. What did you make of Sweeney's offseason prior to this whole kerfluffle? I know it's been going on basically the entire time, but now that we know for sure there's no deal done at the start of camp, how did you sort of feel about the other moves that got made here other than this one that's not getting made?
Well, great. This team's better than what it was when we were sitting here talking about them on the eve of last year's training camp. Certainly bigger on the back end. Zadorov's huge. That big left wing, strong defenseman that people have been calling in, fans have been asking about, analysts have been asking about. They went out and got him, and then they needed center help. And they went out and got the best center that was available on the free agent market in Elias Lindholm. So you have to love those moves. I love the fact that they got bigger on the back end. There's been a lot of talk of how big they are, the biggest team in the National Hockey League, all of a sudden adding big pieces in their bottom six. So, of course, it looks good on paper right now. I'm looking forward to getting over and watching the crew on the ice the next few days and seeing how it comes into place. But I like the moves. And listen, I hear a lot about Korpisalo as well. Korpisalo is a legit goaltender. He was in a dumpster fire last year in Ottawa. You go through the highlights of the goals, it's crazy how bad they were defensively. And, of course, there's things to clean up. Of course, goalies can have bad years in the NHL, but he's a good goaltender, and I think he's going to be more along the lines of the Jaro Halak, the Linus Ullmark by the time this season ends, where we say, oh, that ended up being a really nice move.
Just to put a nice bow on the Swayman talk, does your gut tell you he is in net when the Bruins open the regular season?
My gut says that, yeah. My gut says that. I just can't envision a scenario where he wants to, again, as a goaltender, as a young goaltender, as an opportunity to be the starting goalie for the first time, legitimately the starting goalie. It's your net. That they don't get this figured out here within the next, by opening night.
Who blinks?
I guess someone always has to blink a little bit. I don't know. I don't think honestly, I really don't think it'll be a full-on blink at the end of the day. I really think it's one of those things where it's okay. We're not going to do an 8-year. We'll do a 4-year, and let's figure out the numbers and make sure you're paid well and happy, and we're happy with allowing you to be the guy and hopefully in a few years sign a monster extension for the best goalie in the world.
Hey, I hope you're right about that. Andrew Raycroft, thanks so much for the time today. We look forward to talking with you this season.
Awesome. Sounds good, guys. Thank you.
All right, that is the
Thanks, Razor.
Razor, Andrew Raycroft, joining us here on